I enlisted in the Marine Corps at 17 years old, right out of high school. If I was going to enlist in any military branch of service, I wanted to be part of the toughest, roughest in terms of reputation and quality of training. And that was the Marines. It excited me about what the brand had to share with my future. And so I was aboard a plane to San Diego in Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, 1991. 3 months of boot camp training, I graduated as a newly minted 18-year-old United States Marine, and from there, I got deployed all over the world. So I served 2 tours in the Marine Corps, and my first deployment was to the Persian Gulf War. So I was deployed to the Middle East in 1991, 1992. Shortly thereafter, we were leaving to what we thought was Australia, and next thing you know, they said, nope, you're turning around, you're going to this country called Somalia. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, we deployed on a mission to storm the beaches of Mogadishu. And after that deployment, came back home and deployed again for another tour overseas with the 36th Marine Expeditionary Unit based out of Okinawa, Japan. Second tour, they said, you know, Sapaula, you did a lot of work during your first 4 years. So they said during the second tour, you can kind of take a break. You can be an instructor and you can start training Marines to prepare for deployment overseas since you've been there already. And I was a corporal at the time. The biggest thing I loved about being an instructor was being able to help teach the younger Marines what not to do and how to make sure that they were prepared for some of the most stressful moments of their life. It was nearing my end of the second enlistment, and they said, Sapaula, what do you want to do? And the career planner presented to me a package to re-enlist again. And I looked at that re-enlistment package because if I was going to re-enlist again, that would take me to 12 years. And if I was going to go to 12 years, why would I not re-enlist for another couple more tours to finish out my 20 years? Why throw away 12 years of equity, so to speak, and not retire and get that military paycheck for the rest of my life? So when I looked at my role, I found a new talent in me in terms of this instructor duty. And I found myself really guiding, leading, teaching, coaching. What allowed me to see a different career path was the talent level of saying, I can really be a good teacher, I can be a really good instructor, I can really take these skills and abilities that I learned in the military and potentially apply to something else out in the civilian community. I just didn't know what. Another catalyst for me not to pursue the military career was the birth of my son. Big reason for me to rethink the military was, I remember my first deployment when we got deployed to the Persian Gulf, we got deployed to Somalia. I remember how important mail was to us, and when we received mail, I remember one of the Marines received mail and he opened a letter and he said, wow guys, guess what? And we said, what? I'm a dad. And I remember looking at that moment like, are you kidding? Because in my mind, that's not the way you're supposed to find out that you're a father now. You got a picture, you got a letter that you have a son now. And I remember him taking a guitar and going off to the other area of the ship and playing his guitar by himself. He just needed his moment. And that freaked me out. I was maybe 18, 19 years old, but I just remember not wanting to be the father to find out that your son was born, that he took his first steps, that he went to school for the very first time, that he's experiencing sports and activities for the first time. I wanted to be a father that's active and involved. The first job opportunity that came across me was to be a sales associate for this company. And they taught me basic phone skills and how to work phones and exposed me to the contact data management and using Goldmine, which is pretty interesting. And I remember telling myself, I just did 8 years in the Marines. And I remember this boss, she was always on me about punching in the clock 1 minute or 30 seconds after I'm supposed to punch in. And I remember telling myself, I'm a grown man. I just did 8 years in the Marine Corps fighting for this country, to fight for the same freedom of which I provided in order for you to say, you're 30 seconds late. That didn't sit well with me. And so I decided for me at that point, my role of being an employee was gonna be very limited. And so when I found myself exposed to the financial services industry, when I found myself exposed to the conversations of the entrepreneurs because of that pathway, that journey, being exposed to top entrepreneurs in the Southern California area, they started talking to me about not what they just made, but how they made their money. That intrigued me. They made something from nothing. They built on relationships, and they learned the skills necessary to create banking relationships and financial relationships. And so I decided that the business route was a little bit more my cup of tea. So if you're a transitioning military service member and you need to immediately pay the bills, get the apartment, put food on the table, pay the $500 a month car payment that you signed up for with only 6 months left in your contract, that type of thing, get a job. But what you can also do, since you're used to working a lot of long hours, is to consider doing something on the side to build something on the side, on evenings and weekends, in your spare time. I remember Corporal McComb. He was the same rank as me, he was the same pay as me, but I remember him fixing cars out in town. And he rented a garage, he fixed people's brakes, he did oil changes. But I remember when I transitioned out, he built not only a side job, but he had built a side business, he built a reputation out in the community. And you can do the same thing too in a personal financial world, in financial services, as an insurance professional, as a financial professional. You can start building a clientele, you can start building trust, you can get the word out there that you're helping people fight a war on debt. You're helping people out there stop living paycheck to paycheck. You can help people out there stop settling for what the man is gonna pay you. You can put control in your hands for once. With those military skills and abilities that's been given you, you can put that to your use instead of just fighting for Uncle Sam. You can fight for Uncle Sam, but you can better contribute to America, but shoot, now it's an opportunity for you to fight for your family. So if you're considering the business community, the financial services industry, you want to correct an injustice, you want to help people out there and serve a greater good outside of just yourself, and get paid handsomely along the way, this might be an industry or specific company you may want to consider.